Welcome back, my friends, and today we're going to talk about one of the old classics from the rhythm and blues days by Tampa Red. Now, Tampa Red is yet another of these great bluesmen from the early days who just doesn't get enough credit. And I thank a subscriber for taking a look at Tampa Red. I thought I knew quite a few of these old great masters, but Tampa Red was one I wasn't too familiar with, and this is a great tune. This tune, JitterJump, which we're going to look at today, gives you an idea of what it was all about in the early days. These are the building blocks of rock and roll, of popular music as we know it today, and it's always great to pay homage to these masters from the early days. So let's take a look. Now, JitterJump is basically a 32-bar standard blues type tune, and we're going to take a look at it by looking at the verse and then looking at the chorus, and then we'll put it all together. If you listen to the original recording by Tampa Red, you'll hear him do a couple of little noodling before at the beginning. He's kind of up here on the 5th, 3rd fret maybe. It's hard to tell, but he's kind of just strumming a little bit here off of the G chord, and then he kind of walks down into the G chord, and then we start the song. So anything that you can do to get it going, in fact, you could just start it off with a G chord like this. One of the most important, impressing things about this tune is the bass line, because of course we're talking solo guitar in the early days. There's no bass player, and if you've ever played in a band, you know how important that bass player is to keeps the form, keeps the foundation, keeps the harmony in place, keeps the beat in place. Without the bass player, your band is in pretty sick shape. And if you have any doubts about that, just take your favorite classic band and take the bass track out and see how far you get with that. The bass player makes everything move smoothly. In fact, if you're playing along with a great bass player, you can almost do anything on your instrument and it'll sound pretty good if that bass player is driving that beat. So again, with a solo guitar, you've got to keep that bass line running and moving smoothly. And that's probably the biggest thing to take away from this tune, is how the bass line moves. So when we look at the first 8 bars, we've got the JitterJump is a mellow thing. It puts you in the mood to swing, to kiss and dance and everything. The jitter jive is jumping. So you can see what's happening there with the bass line. We've got that G bass to the B, so we're going up to the 3rd, and then we're going to go chromatically to the C, C sharp, and then the D, and then the B, which is kind of interesting how he goes to the B, which is the 3rd for the next phrase, which is the thing that can kind of trip you up. So we've got the JitterJump is a mellow thing. It puts you in. You might think that you'd be going back to the G for this. The JitterJump is a mellow thing. It puts you in the mood to swing. But he doesn't do that. He doesn't go back to the bass, to the root bass. He goes, the JitterJump is a mellow thing. And he goes up to the D and then the B. So he's playing the 5th and the 3rd instead of going back to the root. So to get that into your head at the beginning is a little tricky. And so we're just playing basically boom chick chords here, so to get you the idea of the piece. So we've got beat for the bass on 1, and then the chord on 2. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. And now we're going to go back to a G chord for the B, G, 3, 4, and then the E, which he plays pretty much 4 beats, and he strums it a little bit, and then we're going to the A, 7, D, and then the G. So da 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 da. Okay, so we've got this. We've got a G chord, then we're playing a G chord with just the B bass. We don't need the third finger there. So we've got G, G with the B bass, then we're going to a regular C chord. Now here's something cool. We can go up a half step into the C sharp, and by playing the open G and the open E with that C sharp, we've actually got a C sharp diminished chord, which is what we want there. But we don't have to do anything fancy. I mean, we could do a C sharp diminished like this, but you're really not getting that sound off the recording. It's a much simpler sound. Okay, so we've got the C sharp, and now we're going to a G chord, like the F chord we learned in the early days, which was always difficult for us. Playing a G chord here with the D in the bass, third finger playing up on the D in the bass, and the little pinky coming in here. So we've got C, C sharp, and then we've got a nice grip here. We're going from the open C, C sharp, and we're closing down the grip here for the G. You get that D in bass. Okay, and then we're coming back to the G with the B bass, so we don't need that third finger. So again, we've got G, G with the B bass, C, and on the bottom with the chords, I'm just playing the three fingers on the three strings, right? So we've got 1, 2, or better off, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, and we're just repeating, okay? 1, 2, so we're just repeating that B, C, C sharp to the D with the G chord with the D, and then B, C, C sharp, and then G with the D. So it's good. So if you want to practice something, practice doing that and get really comfortable, get that under your fingers. Because that will come up again in the chorus or the bridge of the piece. So we're playing that along. From the beginning we've got JitterJump is a mellow thing. It puts you in the mood to swing, to kiss and dance and... Now, here we got to kiss and dance and... Okay, on the bass, on the recording you'll hear the D with the G bass, 1, 2, and then you'll hear 3, 4, okay? He's coming back to the G chord and playing the B and the G bass. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we're going to an E. Now when he plays the E, he's using that high bass note. I kind of like to use that low bass note, okay? But either way, and he's sitting there for a while, and then we're just going to go to the A7, the D, and that's just an A bass, a D bass on the fourth string, and then we're back to the G. And now interesting, he doesn't, if you listen very closely on the recording, you'll hear it's a G6, okay? He's not putting that little finger down for the G. He's just leaving it open on the bottom, and that's getting the E, and so now you get a G6. So the whole thing is, the JitterJump is a mellow thing. It puts you in the mood to swing, to kiss and dance and everything. The JitterJump is jumping, and that is the verse, or the first 8, if you will. The second 8, exactly the same. The old and gray and the young and gay are taking chances every night and day, getting kicks the jazzy way. The JitterJump is jumping. Okay, and again, I went to the G, but you could play it as the G6. So now we come into the bridge, or the third 8, if you will. In the standard, you've got A, B, A form, right? So now we're in the B form. So now we're going to go right to the 4th, or the C chord, and we'll be playing that same C, C sharp, G with the D bass routine again, back to the B, okay? So you can see how we're repeating what we had earlier. So we've got everywhere in town, you see them trucking around, weighing the smell of sound. And again here, C, C sharp, G with the D bass, and then the E7 as we did before, and then to the A7, and you'll hear in the recording the bass with the D and the A. Do, do, do. Okay, so we've got this. We've got everywhere in town, you see them trucking around, weighing the smell of sound, and getting high and breaking down. So pretty simple there. Same chords, a little bit different. We don't have so much G here. We're starting it on the C, but basically the same idea with that C, C sharp, and the D with the G chord, and then we're playing back to the G with the B and the G bass. And then finally the last 8 is the same thing again. From the beginning, right, we've got the JitterJump, it won't behave, make you really make you rock and sway, with your kicks the hip-hop way, the jitter jive is jumping, hip hip way, not hip-hop. And that's the tune, my friends. A great tune to learn. It's got some nice little bass movement, which is always important for a solo guitar player, to keep that bass prominent. And then of course we've got a very interesting moving bass line where we're going all the way up to the D and then back to the 3rd, which is actually very cool once you get the hang of it. Something you don't see in every tune. So I think that you'll have a lot of fun with this. It's a great one to add to your repertoire, and you can really get the feel of the old jump bands from the old days. I thank the subscriber for cluing me into Tampa Red. He really had a great collection of tunes that he did back in the 30s and 40s. He was actually quite popular back then, did not get the recognition he deserved even today. And it's important we pay homage to these great blues masters, because without them, we would not have American music that we had through the decades. So anyways, my friends, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Again, any comments, suggestions, requests, send them along, my friends. I enjoy very much going back through time, finding these cool tunes, picking them out, learning how to play them, and sharing what I know with all of you. So until next time, be well and keep on playing that guitar. JitterJump is a mellow thing. It puts you in the mood to swing, to kiss and dance and everything. The jitter jive is jumping. The old and gray, the young and gay, are taking chances every night and day, getting the kicks the jazzy way. The jitter jive is jumping everywhere in town. You see them tugging around, weighing the smell of sound, and getting high, breaking down. The JitterJump, it won't behave, make you really make you rock and sway, with your kicks the hip-hop way. The jitter jive is jumping